patriots. This is Quan Gold. So I thought it was time for another video. The title of this one is You Are Sovereign. Now what that means and what you have to understand about that is we are all sovereign, and the only one that sits above us is the Lord God Almighty. And then there's us. If you are sovereign, you sit right below that, and then below that you have everybody else, and that's everybody else who believes they serve another master, have a king over them, work for a service corporation, or work in a government and impose rules on its citizens. Are you a citizen or are you a sovereign? That is the message of this video. Are you on the part of the 1% or are you the 99%?
Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. Stick your corporation up your arse. You can stick your corporation up your arse.
So what does it mean to be sovereign? Well, I can only give you my understanding because it's my understanding. Nobody has ever sat down, taught me this, showed me how it works in the courts, etc. However, if you go about on YouTube, BitChute and the other ones, and you look for videos maybe of court cases, maybe you can gain a certain understanding of how the system is. But it's ultimately, are you sovereign? Do you allow other men and women to stand over you or not? And the easiest way to define that, if anybody ever reads out your name or asks you to answer as a defendant, or are you Quan Gold is the question, my response would be, are you addressing me, sir? So the other question you could ask would be, are you addressing me, the man, or the legal fiction, all capitalised name as per my birth certificate? Now, I'm very sure you will not be able to get an answer on those questions, or you would have someone very aggressively tell you, I am addressing you, you must answer my question, except this sort of thing. But it's being able to stand in your own square, on your own space, know that the only one above you is God, and these people, even the ones that wear the robes, even the ones that wear the black and white suits, they all stand below you. Now that's not to say that you can walk around wronging people, damaging their property, hurting them, insulting them for no reason. However, if somebody believes that they have the right to stand over you, instruct you what to do, tell you what to do, or instruct you that you must answer their questions, well, you're not sovereign if you believe that they can do that. You must find the power within yourself to stand on your own square and say, no, I do not stand under you. I do not serve you. I am not a citizen. That is what I would do, and that is how I would do it. Now, it's up to everyone to come to their own understanding whether they think they are or they aren't sovereign, and whether they can or they cannot do this. But I can assure you, if you do enough research, you can come to the correct understanding. But ultimately, your power lies within defining the meaning of the words you are using, defining the exact meaning, not going along and saying, I am using Black's Law Dictionary, which I've never read, do not understand the meanings of words, it's complete legalese, which I've never been trained in, but now I have to stand in a court and answer to. Well, you can simply ask the judge for a correct understanding of the words that you are using. Now, there's a guy called David Wynn Miller. Now, who David Wynn Miller is, or who he tells us he is he's the guy that broke the mathematical interface on all 5,000 languages, proving that language is just a math problem. And in 1988, he broke this math equation giving us a clearly defined way of constructing sentences, words, punctuating your sentences, your grammar, and making sure everything is clear, whether you read it forwards, backwards, upside down, however you want. But what it specifically was doing was giving you a very specifically defined way to communicate. And is that the way you want to communicate? Well, if it is, then if you ever stand in front of one of these men in robes, well, you could ask the man in the robe, what language are we using? Where are the words defined? Where are the grammar, the syntax, and the parsé of the sentences we are going to use? Where is that defined? Are we using Black's Law Dictionary? Are we using David Wynne Miller's key that broke it in 1988? These are very specific questions so that you and another man have the exact same understanding of the words you use. Now, I'm not saying that's what you should do, but if I were ever in court, I would certainly be making sure that it's clear what language we're using, what syntax, is it parsed in the same way, are we using grammar in the same way, and these are very specific things we can define right at the outset so that we have the same understanding.
I'm a 92nd degree Mason is because in 1988 I broke the math interface in all 5,000 languages, proving that language is a linear equation in algebra. This hasn't been done in 8,500 years of written language.
So why is all this important? Why is it, if you are sovereign and only God sits above you, why is this so meaningful? Well, if you are serving the Lord, not yourself, you are doing right by others as often as you can, being as honest as you can, because truth really is the number one thing you need to understand and be comfortable with. You cannot lie. Lies will break everything. It will be the downfall of you. So no matter what, you must be truthful and understand that the only one that sits above you is God. Now, this is the understanding that they have. They will not break that covenant. They will not put words in your mouth. You will always have to, by your own mouth, admit that you are an all capitalized name, you are a citizen, you are a defendant, and that you come under a king or queen. You are happy to submit to someone else's authority. But you can very specifically just say, I want to use these words, I want to use this dictionary, I want to use this this method of communication, this type of grammar, and this parsé syntax in our sentences so we have the same understanding. And nobody is going to tell you that you cannot do that, because then they are lying and they will answer to God. So now I would like everyone to bear in mind what was the thing Trump told us right at the start when he was first elected. This is not just another 4-year election. This is transferring the power from the establishment and giving it back to you, the people.
Because today, we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
The oppressors of generations who have kept you down with myths of opportunity, and we give it back to you, the people. Gotham is yours. None shall interfere. Do as you please.
Now, that is my understanding. That is what you must understand, and that is what we all, the 99%, have to come to terms with. When we do, that is when we free ourselves. That is when all of this bullshit, all of this coronavirus crap, all this Coronavirus Act law legislation, well, it's not law, is it? It's legislation, it's an act. It does not apply to a man or woman, and that's what we must understand.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people. Why? Because while the truncheon may be used in lieu of conversation, words will always retain their power. Words offer the means to meaning, and for those who will listen, the enunciation of truth. And the truth is, there is something terribly wrong with this country, isn't there? Beneath this mask, there is more than flesh. Beneath this mask, there is an idea, Mr. Creedy. And ideas are bulletproof.
Well, that's all we got here, motherfucker. Motherfucker? Don't get your panties up in a bunch just because I use the M word as an adjective, as in when I landed at this airport, I was confronted by a self-important, American-hating, frog-leg-eating, snail-sucking, motherfucking, cock-sucking bureaucrat. Because I'd rather use it as a noun, as in, this motherfucker hates Americans so much, even though we saved his country ass in not only one world war, but two, he still won't let me through with my cans. So now that we're clear on how I use the M word, with no disrespect to you or your official capacity as the guardian of your country's borders, I'll just move on with my cans.